this is you and this will be you to the end. You will never be the same or think the same again. What's going on, everybody? My name is AT from Headcrack Studios, headcrackstudios.com, and this is video part 2 of the 3-part mini-series on busing. And today we're going to go over why do we use a bus and why use a bus at all. And once again, I am using the session for my song called Dahlia. My stage name is Logic Kill, so you can look that up. Logic Kill, Dahlia, produced by my guy Player One Beats. Let's jump right into it. I just want to jump into where I punched in on the lead, and I'm going to tell you why I played this.
Got a message written on my mirror saying this is you. What in the message was dripping and written in blood. All I could think of was I'm getting punk and I'm thinking the people that I should hit up. Grabbing my phone and my notifications are crazy.
Yeah, so I know I did a pretty good job there on blending it, but yeah, those were punch-ins. And later on in the track, I actually did some back and forth work.
Yeah, consider this moment a coming of age. The moment of truth on the edge of a blade. Oppression exploded.
Yeah, so as you can hear, age blends in with the next line. So I do that from time to time. So when I do stuff like that, instead of going crazy with the crossfading and stuff, I'd rather just keep them separate. So here's lead 1 and lead 2, right? So what I did was I bussed them. I put them on a bus like we talked about in the last video, and I sent them over to this bus. This mix effects, which they call it in Studio One, but you know, it's either a bus or a mix bus. This is the mix bus actually. Sorry, but this is a bus, right? This is what you would call a bus. This is what you would call an auxiliary track in Pro Tools, but the common terminology for it is a bus. So the reason why I did it is you can see I did some extensive processing to it. You know, I did some EQ, I did some de-essing, I did some compression, I did a bunch of I did a bunch of distortion. So the reason why we use a bus in a lot of cases, especially in the digital era, is to save space on our CPU, right? Because if I put all of these plugins twice on 2 channels exactly the same, it'll take up unnecessary CPU that I don't need to do because I can just bust them and it'll sound right. So that's one reason why, right? Another reason why we use buses, right? And you can see right here, same thing with the hook. I just brought the hook over to a bus. So if you see hook A, all of these are going to hook A. Same thing. I just wanted to manipulate all of them at once. Hook B, I did the same thing, right? Here's all the tracks in hook B. So that's, for vocals. But we also use buses to identify and to group certain like sounds, I should say. So for example, one of the things I do a lot, especially when I'm mix prepping for other engineer sessions, is I would bus vocals, right? I would bust percussion, I would bust the drum kit, and I would bust the bass. So what am I saying? So basically, you would want to, and this takes some intuitive listening, right? You would want to go in, and the music, so you would want to go in and just look at all your tracks and listen to them. Obviously, listen to them first and then look. So Player One was really nice in labeling all his tracks for me, which is really nice. So that means I know what I'm listening to when I click it. So when I go to organ, I know I'm going to listen to an organ, right? So if you listen to the organ, got a lot of stuff on here, so give it some time. All right. And then you listen to the synth. All right. So I would classify all of these as the music bed, right? Yep. So we got the music, and I kind of did it with the colorization as well. I could go over that in a later video. So long story short, I got all of these right here. Here's basically what I did. So now they're not bussed anywhere. So what I can do is, boom, add bus for selected channels, bang, now music. All right, and so how that helps us is, say we wanted just the acapellas and we wanted to export the acapellas And we want, so say we wanted to export the acapellas process. Studio One does a good job of this on its own. But if you're on Pro Tools or something like that, this works really well for you because you can just mute the music, right? And then you can just have the vocals and the drums playing or whatever you didn't bus. So that's one of the reasons. That's a main reason why we use buses is for different mixes, right? And I already mentioned saving the CPU. Especially, so I wrote down in my notes. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. You caught me. I wrote down saturation. So saturation, stuff like this. Ready? I got this. So I bust all my vocals to this vocal bus right here. Everything I said, I bust here because I like this saturation plugin by Abbey Road. It's on Waves. Everything went there because that plugin is CPU heavy. So if I would have put this plugin on every vocal that I did, it would have killed the whole session. I wouldn't even be able to play it. And that holds true for a lot of bigger plugins. Like I know the Abbey Road Plates reverb plugin is the same, where you don't want to put that as an insert because it'll tear up your CPU and just lag the whole session. So that is the main reason in today's era why we do it. I mean, if you want some history, I said it in the first video. The reason why they used it back then was basically the same reason why we're using it now, except they didn't have to worry about CPU, but they did have to worry about faders, and they had to worry about analog gear. So they couldn't put a LA two-way on every instance of a vocal, right? And so, or every instance of the drums, or every track, I should say. So where they wanted the LA two-way, they would take, so say they wanted the LA two-way on the hook, they would take that, add a bus it analog style over to a fader, and then throw a compressor on that, which is essentially what we do nowadays. I know I'm dragging this on, but I really want to nail it in the head, hit the nail on the head and drill it home for you guys why we use buses. It's just neater. It's more convenient, and it saves you a lot of time and a lot of workload on your computer. And if you're still on a mixing board, not even still, I'm not even gonna say that because I'm looking to get me a big board too. So if you're on a big board and you're doing stuff analog as well as digital, then you already know if you have some analog gear, then you're gonna have to bust something at some point because you only have one unit and you can't put it on everything because it's physically impossible. So that's what it is. And like I said, guys, if you want, like I said in the first video, if you want a perfect example of what a bus is, short and sweet, your main output, the master fader on Pro Tools, the main on Studio One. If you're on Fruity Loops, I believe it's called the main 2 or something like that. Not main 2, but the main also, like the main out. That's where everything is getting routed to that channel. And that, in essence, is a bus. So to recap, the reason why we use buses are because we're really trying to save space and we're trying to save CPU and we're just trying to make things neater, right? If I wanted to manipulate all of these, right? Whispers, bells, blade, impact, scream. Instead of doing everything, by themselves, which I did here because I didn't need to do a lot, but say I knew that I need to do a lot, I'd rather just bust them. That way I can manipulate them all at once. Oh, and also, very basic, but very easy to forget, I'm on vocals.
Days and everybody's crazy, raising hell. Cause this is the third one, the back when the first one occurred, nobody can explain it well.
Easy to mute, right? Easy to mute and easy to control. So here's all the vocals.
Days and first one occurred,
and you just turn it down if you want.
Days and everybody raising hell. Cause this is the third one, the back when the
So now you got full control. Now you got full control over every piece of vocal that I did. And what I also do is I bust all the effects that are on my vocal. I bust them to the vocal effect, to the vocal bus as well. That way, when I mute it, everything gets muted. Because when I don't mute, let's do the verse verb. If I make this main out, watch what happens when I mute the vocals.
days and everybody.
If you turn your headphones up, I promise you I'm not going to kill your ears. If you turn your headphones up, you can hear the reverb still being played. That's because the reverb effect is actually still coming out of the speakers. So when I mute the vocals or when I turn the vocals down, I want everything to stay and I want everything to be manipulated when I manipulate this. So that's why.
Days and everybody.
now we just got the beat. And this just helps for organization, and this just helps for being neat, and this helps save a lot of CPU, a lot of RAM, and a lot of space. And that's about it, guys. I'm telling you, like, a lot of work that I do is with buses. So stay tuned for part 3 on how to use a bus, which I kind of went in on this, but I will show you more in depth on the next video. So if you like what you saw and you like what you heard, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell so you can get a notification when I drop another one of these, and stay tuned. It's AT from Headcrack Studios, headcrackstudios.com. Let's